The technology in this camera is just astonishing to me. With the EOS-1D Mark III, I decided to do diving because it was, I think it was a little bit more difficult to shoot. And I think with, it's almost, I want to say 1.2 seconds from once you dive off the board and into the water, I wanted to really show how well the camera tracked and the movement, because you're going up, you're going down. There's not really a football player coming straight at you, but I wanted to be able to show the responsiveness of the camera itself, and that's why I chose diving to showcase the camera. I'm excited to use this EOS-1D Mark III this coming football season because I think now with the improved autofocusing, 10 frames per second, I think now, I mean, I'm going to capture a lot of in-focus pictures compared to in the past, I mean, which the focusing system was great, but now I think it's improved now with this camera here. It's just going to make it even a lot better, especially the response time of the camera. You know, sometimes I may have a camera on my shoulder here and then one on my other shoulder here, and with a wide angle lens, and a long play could happen. I think now I could whip another camera around, press the shutter release, and as long as I'm in that 19 cross type sensor, I think it's going to capture the focus. With the EOS-1D Mark III, the burst rate is phenomenal now. You can get 110 full JPEG resolutions and 30 RAW images. And if you're shooting high JPEGs, when you're out there shooting sports, you'll never miss a play. You know, and then the focusing with that is phenomenal. The feel of this camera is it just fits your hand. If you look back at the 1V that was 10 frames per second with film, I mean, this reminds me of that camera. I mean, when I put a Canon camera in my hand back many years ago, I have always been with Canon. So it's kind of like now this camera with 10 frames per second, it just has a great feel to it. I mean, it's easy to turn if you want to shoot vertical or if you want to shoot horizontal. I mean, it just fits your hand like a glove. So, and then with the shutter release here, and then the response of the speed of the camera at the 10 frames a second, it's like a glove in your hand. We decided to come out and do some photos in diving. We wanted to show basically how the 10 frames per second reacted. And I think today's session worked very well because even with the large burst rate, I was still able to fire off 20 shots, 30 shots during the diving, from the start to the finish, from her jumping off the diving board to her really ending in the water. And so it was exciting to watch and capture and look at. And then once you put it back on the computer and you say, oh man, look at the focusing on that, it just blows you away. So I think with a lot of sports photographers like myself, once they get a hold of this camera and they see how it responds and the autofocusing system and the tracking, and they're gonna fall in love with this camera.